Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Georgia Sports Nation. We got some more Hawks and Braves content on the way for you guys tonight. We're going to be recapping the Miami mini series in at FTX Arena. Unfortunately, the Hawks went down in both games. Probably needed to get one of those wins if we really wanted to stay competitive in these standings as of this week. But Miami did lose the other night when we won against Washington, so that did help us. We're going to be recapping that win against Washington, a crazy finish down in that game, 122-120, as well as previewing the Hawks Wizards second part of that series tonight. We're also going to be recapping, if we have time, the Celtics and Hawks for tomorrow. It's a back-to-back at home for the Hawks. So even though it's the Celtics coming in, it's at home. We do travel. So it's going to be a rough situation, but hopefully we can pull out a dub against the Celtics. That'd be huge. And then at the end, we may discuss the Braves' fifth starter options with Ian Anderson struggling and Bryce Elder's performance so far this spring training. But without further ado, let's get into it. What did you think of the Heat mini series that we played in last weekend?
Well, Mikey, it was just like we were talking about before the show came on. That first game, we was never in the game from the beginning of the game to the end. We was never in the game at all. Like they crushed us all over the game. Like in every category, they crushed us.
Yeah.
And then that second game, we could have won that game, but the refs did not help us.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it lightly there.
They did not help us at all, man. Like they was calling everything on us. But when it get down to the other end, they swallowed the rest.
Yeah, the level of physicality that the Heat were allowed to play in that second game, it really didn't look like we were allowed to. The refs were calling a little bit of contact on us, and generally, I'm not a guy to really blame the refs. Like, we lost this because of the refs. Because in all honesty, that's really a poor excuse. But this game, it was really hard. It's really hard not to say that the refs had an impact overall in this game, as it was called pretty one-sided. I mean, if you just look at the numbers for that second game, we shot 23 free throws and made 17 of them, and Miami shot 37 and made 32. So, and two of these free throws came on this absolute BS foul call here on Jalen Johnson.
Down to Jimmy Butler. Butler right down the middle, all the way to the rim, and the rim blocked him.
So usually, bro, Jalen Johnson is in there trying to take a charge, right? If I can compensate over this, he is in there trying to take a charge, and Jimmy sidesteps to look, does not make contact with him, and they call a foul when Jimmy Butler just falls down to his left.
I'm not seeing it, man. I don't see a foul right there.
And like, I get another angle too, and they didn't have it, but on Valley they showed an angle from behind the basket. Clearly no contact there, and they called that foul.
The only contact was whoever that was that came behind Jalen. He bumped him a little bit. That was the only contact on that play.
Yeah, they called. Well, the thing is, and if they, I don't remember who that was.
There, Jimmy down to Jimmy Butler. Butler right down the middle, all the way to the rim. And the rim
there's really no Hawks player there actually behind them. So. And even if they did call that foul on the player you're talking about, they called the foul on Jalen Johnson ultimately. So it doesn't even matter there, which is just awful. And back to your point, like you said, we could have won that game. It's not like we played bad in that game. We had more assists, better field goal percentage, more rebounds, less turnovers, and 10 more field goals made. It's not really often that you see a team lose in the NBA that you make 10 more field goals than them and you still lose the game. But it's really all on free throws. A lot of foul trouble, as you can imagine, for that game for the Hawks. But we did have a chance to win this game. Trae was good. Trae was good in this game throughout the majority of the game, but in the fourth quarter had a crucial turnover, which kind of derailed us, unfortunately. But we ended up losing by 2. we didn't hit a 3-pointer. We hit 2 3-pointers in the fourth quarter, and they were both within the last minute of the game. We shot 9 of 29 from 3 though, and allowed them to shoot 16 of 29 from 3. If you're looking for a stat, that's the stat right there that really can show the game.
That cannot happen at all. You can't allow open shots on defense. That cannot happen. You have to stay connected to your man at all times. And even if you're playing zone, you have to you cannot vacate your zone at any point in time.
Yeah. And it's funny, like back to your point, staying with your man, Trae Young has been doing an excellent job at that. You see against the Wizards, he was playing great defense. Over this stretch of his career, this is the most steals he's had in I saw this tweet from Glenn Willis a couple of days ago, or a few days ago, I don't remember. But this is the most steals he's had in this recent stretch of his career for Trae. Mm-hmm. He had 2 steals against the Wizards on Wednesday in the first quarter. He held Tyler Hero this weekend. He got him. He locked him up. Tyler Hero in the second game shot 5 of 14, and in the first game he shot 8 for 21. And Trae was starting him the majority of both of those games. So he's been working really hard on defense. And I love the point that he used after, I think it was the second game of the Heat, where he said his quickness, he's trying to use his quickness on defense more to give him an advantage. And Quinn Snyder is really instilling that confidence and trying to help him with that. So that's huge from Trae. Normally, under Nate McMillan and throughout Trae's career, honestly, even with Lloyd Pierce too, we've been trying to hide Trae on defense. If Trae Young puts forth that defensive effort and uses his quickness to as an ability instead of his height as a weakness, that can really change our whole defensive scheme, and I think for the better.
Yeah, I agree, and I think Quinn Snyder is the perfect coach to use Trae for our defense. Like he knows where to put players and who to put in, who to not, who to take out, and all that. So I think Quinn Snyder is going to get the best out of Trae, especially on defense.
Yeah, and offensively, we know he loved to run the pick and roll in Utah. Run a lot of Spain action with Bojan Bogdanovic and Rudy Gobert running to the rim. So we can see the same with that, the same dynamics with that. Maybe with Sadiq Bey and Clint Capella or Onyeka Okongwu running to the rim. And if John Collins gets his 3-point shot, which when we talk about when we recap the Wizards game from Wednesday a little later in the show, JC made 4 threes that game, including twice 2 in a row. So if he could get his 3-point shot back, that changes our whole offense, the dynamic of it. And we can really see the Hawks as a top 2 offense, which we've been. The last week, the Hawks are the number 3 in offense, but 25th in defense, which it's kind of a polar opposite to what we did to begin the season. When we began the season 7-2, when we began that, we had such a great defense, but our offense was a little shaky. DeJounte and Trae kind of had to find that feel for each other. But now it's flip-flopped. And I wonder if we can get them both back to that middle ground, which is when we had that 5-game winning streak.
Yeah. Get back to that middle ground on offense, but keep the same intensity on defense.
Yeah. And as Southside said, the first Heat game, we won on a back-to-back. We had to travel. The Heat were on a back-to-back as well, but they were at home. And I didn't make, and similar to you, Southside, I didn't make a lot for that game. When you see DeJounte and Trae combined for 5 of 25 shooting, you know there's something wrong. That's the first blip in the stat sheet right there. I don't think that we'll ever see that bad of a shooting performance again from both of those combined. They both shot 0 of 5 from 3, and they combined for 18 points.
Yeah, that was ugly.
So
that was an outlier.
We know Trae has struggled against the Heat since last year's playoffs and really the regular season too. What do you see the Heat do that really puts Trae in a tough position?
I don't know about this year, but I know for a fact in last year's playoff game, what they would do is they would box Trey off, like make him use one half of the court, and then because they knew that everybody else was so on offense, whereas Trey is he was the main option on offense, and everybody else we had was some Tommy. So you could trap Trey, and then you could live with somebody else making the shot here and there. Okay, so what? But I don't know why has this been such a problem for Trey against Miami throughout the regular season.
From Glenn Willis as well. He mentioned and pointed out that the Heat will not allow Trey to get in the middle off a middle pick and roll. If you start the pick and roll on the side, the Hawks had a little bit better offensive execution that way. But I said this in the middle of the third quarter in the first game. I don't remember the last time Trey has gotten into the paint from the between the free throw line. It's always been from the sideline or from the corner. And that really shows they were sending three bodies at Trey in every pick and roll, and it bothered him. He obviously does not have he's great passing vision. He somehow I remember he threw a lob to John Collins over a trap with his left hand for like a 30-foot pass and put it right on target for a John Collins layup. That pass just shows you like the wizardry of Trae Young. But when you consistently show three bodies at Trey, everybody else is going to need to open up some passing lanes for Trey. And I think that kind of sums up what Trey and what Trey was going through with the Heat in the playoffs, and specifically in that first game, actually happened with DeAndre Hunter down the stretch in the second game. It's definitely known that DeAndre did not have a great game or great series in Miami in these two games. While he had a great playoff series, especially in that last game where I think he put up 35 points.
Yeah, he came out.
Here you see DeAndre in the corner here is doubled by Hero coming over on the far 3-point line. Mm-hmm. And Caleb Martin, I'll actually run the tape first and then kind of examine the play from here. So
there, Jimmy Butler
as you can see there,
spray, 8 assists for Jimmy, finding
tries to find a passing lane. Outlet's not there. So I want to go. The reason why I want to go over this play is because Atlanta the spacing here was pretty bad. You've got DeAndre Hunter here, guarded by Jimmy Butler and Tyler Hero. Victor Oladipo's guarding Bogdan Bogdanovic. Now Caleb Martin, who's in between Trae Young and John Collins, he tries to rotate to Trae to pick off a pass. DeAndre sees that, fake passes. But at the same time that happens, John Collins and Clint Capella cut into the middle at the same time. So
that shouldn't happen.
The spacing was kind of ruined there, and a lot of people blame DeAndre for this. And for one point that I will say before I say how the Hawks could have managed this situation a bit better, DeAndre Hunter could have avoided this double by dribbling up top around Hero. Hero, the double came late from Jimmy, so if he saw Jimmy coming, he could have dribbled it back out, give it to Bogey, and reset to get out of the double. But since after you see your teammate in a tough position, you got to communicate with your teammates to get him open passing lanes, and the Hawks didn't do that here. If Bam Adebayo, since Caleb Martin rotates off John Collins to go to Trae Young, the lob to John Collins is there. No, it's not, because Clint Capella decides to cut into the middle. If Clint Capella would have stayed on the nail near the free throw line, the lob to John Collins would have been there because Caleb Martin rotates the Trae. Another point would be if Clint Capella stayed on the nail, DeAndre could have passed it to Clint Capella. Now with Caleb Martin away from JC, Capella dumps it off to JC because Bam has to cover the ball with Clint Capella, and JC has an easy dunk. So
Yeah.
little things like that where fans will say, "Oh, DeAndre Hunter, horrible series. These 2 games, he can't dribble, he can't pass, turnover machine. His handle needs to get better." Little things like that. Before you say that, you got to say, "Wait, okay, let me examine this play," because while yes, DeAndre Hunter should have been able to dribble out of Hero once he saw Jimmy Butler coming to double him, little things like that will tell you it's not all DeAndre's fault. Capella and Collins specifically need to manage their spacing a bit better in that situation. And we could have likely seen a score on that possession instead of a turnover leading to a fast break bucket for the Heat.
I agree. I would say that if John would have backed up just a little bit, and then if Dre could have seen him, he could have passed it to John down here in the corner, and then somebody's going to rotate over him, and then John could pass it to Clint. And that's an open jump shot right there.
I agree with that. The only thing I'd say in Dre's defense though for that is I don't know if he can see Caleb Martin. I don't like Jimmy Butler. Is roughly the same height as DeAndre Hunter. So I don't know if he can see Caleb Martin rotate over from John Collins right now. He certainly sees it when he goes to swipe at the ball, when he fake passes the Trae.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree. If DeAndre Hunter could have seen Caleb Martin there, if JC would have backed up, that pass would have been there for a 3. Or if Bam goes to JC because Caleb went to Trae, the lob to Clint Capella's there. So, I agree.
Yeah, it's a big if, but yeah.
Southside says one of the main problems with Hunter is still his ball handling. Yeah, I definitely agree. While it's gotten a bit better since last year, we saw him handling the ball a decent amount down the stretch in the second Miami game, and 2 costly turnovers really gave the Hawks a rough go at the end there. I remember he tried to split the double on the right wing in the second game and gave the ball up for an easy fast break Miami layup. And honestly, that had the game right there.
Yeah, you can't do that against a great defense like Miami. Yeah, because they're gonna make you pay every single time.
You know what was funny, and one more point about DeAndre Hunter before I go into that. He had 14 points in that second game.
Mm-hmm.
So decent performance in that game, but against the Heat in the second game. No, sorry. In the first game, he was really inefficient with those 14. But in the second game, he really caught on fire, especially in the third quarter. He made back-to-back mid-range jumpers to get the Hawks back in the game. Because, and like you were saying, in the first game, we were down. We were down big. We didn't have a 30-point quarter until the fourth. Yeah. And the Heat were really holding us, especially to that second quarter. That was really bad. 37 points for Miami to 23 for us. And at that point, Miami got a near 20-point lead at halftime. But DeAndre Hunter closed that gap in the third quarter with an offensive run. But unfortunately, couldn't hold on to the ball going down the stretch with those turnovers.
Yeah. I mean, we tried to fight back in that first game, but that deficit was just too much to overcome. So
yeah, we ran out of gas.
Yeah.
In the second game, when you've got DeJounte Murray and Trae Young going for 25 and 23 each, and honestly, this game was just a shootout. You've got 128 for the Hawks, 130 for Miami. But when you have 7 guys in double-digit scoring, you've got to win that game. Defensively, the Heat never had below 29 points in a quarter, and the Hawks offense just lulled a bit in the second and third quarter with 25 and 28 points, and ultimately that little stretch was the difference in the game. Our defense has got to be better.
Got to, yeah, it has to be better. We have to stop lapsing on defense. We have to stop going through these phases where we can't we can't guard anybody on the 3-point line, and then we don't stop. Like, okay, off of a made basket, we allow the ball handler to come all the way up the floor and go straight to the bucket and get off of a made basket. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
We have to stop doing it.
Yeah, and if we do take a positive from Miami, it was the offensive impact of Saddiq Bey. He really, when John Collins had a horrible, these 2 games from John Collins were horrible. The second game of Miami was actually okay, but the first, it was rough for John Collins. 3 points, 1 rebound in 16 minutes with foul trouble for them.
It cannot happen. It can't happen.
No. Especially against a physical team in Miami. We need to get those rebounds, and it ultimately cost us. Saddiq Bey, though, 22 points and 4 out of 8 from downtown in that first game. And in that second game off the bench, 32 minutes, had 17, 3 assists, and 6 rebounds. So when Saddiq Bey came over, he was shooting mid-30s from 3. But overall, his field goal percentage was inefficient because in Detroit, he was taking a lot of shots, and he was the second option or first option in some lineups where that's not who he is. He's a catch-and-shoot guy, needs to be set up by Trae or DeJounte or Bogey, who's ever playmaking Jalen Johnson on the fast break. So when Saddiq Bey's playing like this, it looks really good. But there are 2 sides of the ball. And I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, a hater on Saddiq Bey or something like this, but he's very clearly been our worst defender since he's came here. Trae Young stepped up his defense. Bogdan Bogdanovic, say what you want about his defense, but he's physical. He get into guys' face. Guys will dribble around him pretty easily because of lateral quickness. But he's physical. He bumps guys, he tries. But Saddiq Bey has been burned a lot on off-ball cuts. When he was trying to chase Tyler Hero around in screens, Duncan Robinson in that second game, we really got hurt from Saddiq on defense. And the conundrum for Quinn Snyder. When you have JC, who was playing really bad for the first game in Miami and a couple games before that, you can afford to play Saddiq Bey, but the defense is going to take a hit. With JC, the offense will take a hit, but the defense will be there. So it's just kind of a tough situation there. Yeah. You got to play it by a game-by-game basis.
Yeah, you gotta weigh your options because the one thing that I applaud for Saddiq Bey is he's actually giving effort on defense.
Yes, he is.
He's trying. And on offense, he's not trying to do too much, but he's still being himself. That's all we're asking. Like, we're not asking you to, come out and, give us 20 every night. No, we don't need you to do that. We just need you to give us like at least 13 to 15 points. And then, a couple of rebounds here and there, a couple of assists, and at least show us something on defense.
I've actually been really happy with his rebounding, especially offensively rebound. Yeah. He's got multiple offensive rebounds in that Heat game, and also against the Wizards. While he was only in 20, he struggled in his first game against the Wizards, unfortunately. So that's where and Quinn Snyder realized that. He does, Southside. He does save a pass that's going out of bounds every game too. So that's the hustle from Saddiq Bey is there. But unfortunately, like I said when we got him, his size isn't really big enough to guard a 4, but his quickness also isn't there to guard a 3. So it's like he's in between. Who does he guard? How does he guard it? It's a tough situation.
It is. It's a tough situation. Yeah.
But last thing I will say about this Heat series, if you will, on Jalen Johnson is now firmly really cemented in this rotation over AJ Griffin. I want to get your opinions on that before we dive a little bit into more about how JJ was playing against Miami.
You know what? I had my thoughts, my doubts about that at first, but then AJ started struggling, and JJ started, making more plays. He's amazing on defense. He could lead a fast break on offense like anybody. So I'm not I don't have a problem with it, because he gives you everything. To be honest, like, so I don't really see a problem. I just hope that AJ start. The more that we can give him minutes, he starts to get his shot back. Just a little bit.
Yeah, and you'll hear a term circling around rookies called the rookie wall. Maybe AJ hit that, but
Mhm.
honestly, his his on ball defense isn't that good. His off ball defense was really good. He was leading rookies in steals at the time when he was playing big minutes. So we know his off ball defense is good, and that shot was not falling. He was sub 30% in his past 12 games before being taken out of the rotation. But one thing I will say is I support the decision because we have nobody on the roster like Jalen Johnson, a forward, legit 6'9", 6'10", who can push the ball, rebound, play make, and on ball and on ball defense.
Exactly.
We used him as the point of attack defender on Bradley Beal in the Wizards game with a front court of Onyeka Okongwu and then a backcourt of Trae, Bogey, and Sadiq. Three negative defenders, although Trae lately has not been. But overall, if you throughout the course of their career, three negative defenders, and Jalen Johnson's the point of attack defender, and he did an excellent job on Bradley Beal.
Excellent. Yes, he did.
Bradley Beal scored 4 points until the very end when he had some free throws in that first game against Washington. So huge plays from Jalen Johnson there, and that's why I think that Quinn Snyder's made that change to the rotation. He doesn't like playing a 10-man rotation. He said that in his introductory press conference, and he mentioned it's either going to be JJ or AJ. He didn't specifically say that like very bluntly, but it was pretty much inferred. That's what he said, and it looks like it's JJ right now.
Yeah, that's true.
As we flip a coin here to the win against the Wizards, Trae Young, this was one of his best games of the season overall. And if you can speak to what you saw from Trae there, but honestly, the stat sheet doesn't really look like eye-popping, but when you count his defense, just the overall flow of the game, I thought it was one of his better games of the year.
Oh yeah, his defense. I mean, this is just like we were talking about. This is the best defense he's played his whole career. I mean, and I think Quinn Snyder is the main reason why, because he's actually holding him accountable on defense. He's not, whispering in the ear, maybe you should do this, maybe you should do that. No, he's telling you, he's telling him exactly what he wants him to do on defense and using it to his advantage.
Yeah. And as Southside says, this is Trae's best game of the year because his efficiency and defensive sleeper, defensive player of the year, Trae. The agenda, the agenda will agenda. Defensive player of the year, Trae.
Stop that.
But this game, I mean, he finished with 28 and 10, 3 steals, and 2 of those came in the first quarter, and went 3 of 4 from downtown and 11 of 14 from the field in total. I mean, it can't get much better than that. The efficiency, the defense, the off-ball defense. One thing was, 10 assists to 5 turnovers. That could be a little bit better, but the 2-to-1 ratio, you'll take that. His defensive effort was really a game changer in this game, chasing Bradley Beal around those screens. Corey Kispert when he went in, and he's DeLon Wright. While he was playing really well on offense before the Hawks came into town, Trae Young has basically made him an offensive afterthought. So great credit to Trae Young, as he's been playing really great defense in Washington so far. We hope it continues tonight.
OG said he's gonna be in about 5 minutes.
Let's get it. So we'll stay on this topic in Washington. I thought Jalen Johnson also played one of his best games of the season in Washington. 10 points, had a steal, an assist, 4 rebounds. While that's not, and he hit 2 threes. While that's not huge, such a huge stat sheet, he changed the game late in that third quarter. This game swung when he entered the game. And we hear this all the time. Basketball is a game of runs. When the Hawks blew a 15-point lead in the first quarter in the second game in Miami, the Miami Heat are going to make a run. Like, fans got to understand, it's so hard to maintain a 15-point lead across an entire game in any type of basketball game. Doesn't matter if it's the NBA, college, high school, middle school, does not matter. It's so hard to maintain that. You're not going to hit some shots. You may turn the ball over a couple times. They're going to hit some tough shots, even though you play great defense. Runs are going to happen. It's NBA basketball. But this game was crazy. In between the third and fourth quarter, the Hawks came back on a 14-0 run. The Wizards hit us back with an 11-0 run, and then the Hawks went on a 7-0 run after that. So in between the middle of the third and fourth quarter, the game was crazy, but Jalen Johnson was the catalyst for that. We scored those 14 points so quick on fast breaks, led by Jalen Johnson, and he had a crazy putback dunk, posterizing Denny Avdia too as well in that. So gaining some momentum plays. So awesome play from Jalen Johnson. But the main thing I was really encouraged with after Trae's performance was John Collins, and I know you want to speak a lot on JC. So what did you think of John Collins in this game as he went for 14 points with a block, added a steal, and also 4 of 7 from 3? Huge confident boost there for JC.
Yeah, huge confidence boost. I mean, I'm glad he finally, he's finally coming back to, what he's used to doing. I'm still kind of concerned about the rebounding. I hope that he can, get back some of that luster, that he was doing before. But hey, he had a pretty good game. I'll give him credit. I just hope he keeps it up.
Yeah. And hopefully he continues to knock down that 3 ball, because if he can play in lineups down the stretch without having some spacing issues, that'll be huge, because we know Saddiq Bey, when he's been in closing lineups, have been the defense has slacked off. But down the stretch in the fourth quarter, as we have OG joining us here, 5 Wizards turnovers we created in the fourth quarter, and Beal traveled with 16.5 seconds left in that corner. That ultimately defense stealed us this win in the fourth quarter, which I love to see. But as we have OG joining us here, what did you think about this Wizards game on Wednesday?
It was an important win. That would have been a bad loss. It was an important win. The team showed tremendous resiliency. They could have easily folded up, and they didn't. It was just one of them wild and wacky games. Porzingis got off. He lit us up for like 40, either 43 or 45.
Yeah, career high.
I mean, there was nothing we could do with him, and we still found a way to win. We got key stops down the stretch. Dre made a key stop on Bill. We kind of put the clamps on Bill. When we put the clamps on Bill, I ain't gonna say we put the clamps on him, but we slowed him up. We slowed him up just enough, for us to gather and win the game. Spectacular two-way play from two-way Trae is what we call it now. Yeah.
Two-way Trae.
Yeah. We put 7 guys in double figures. That's sharing the sugar, man. That's sharing the basketball. 28 and 10 from Trae. Bogey led us in rebounding. How about that? Bogey had 8 boards.
He filled up the stat sheet.
Yeah.
He also had 5 assists and 2 steals as well. The Hawks actually had 11 steals in this game, and 9 were in the first half. So it just goes to show you, while this game, 120 points for the Wizards is a lot, it's not like we just let the Wizards walk into 120 points. We were giving the effort defensively, but like you said, Porzingis was on Wednesday.
Man, he probably won't be able to throw it in the ocean tonight. He threw up like 4 of those threes he made. I know he had to make at least 7, 8 threes. Yeah. 4 of those threes, he just threw them up and they went in.
Yeah, they were contested. Yeah.
Like, I can't get mad at the defense. They pushed him out. They pushed him out. I'm gonna call it Trae Young range. They pushed him out to Trae Young range, and he still hit him. That was an important win.
It was. Miami lost too, so we gained a game on them. The Knicks lost as well. If we're able to catch them, if they somehow slow down, so big game in the standings for us.
Yeah, we just got to keep winning. We got to establish some consistency. I think we can all agree on that. Winning wins will mean absolutely zero if we don't go out there and win tonight. I kind of felt like, I ain't gonna say we tricked off a game in Miami. I really I was heated. I was livid.
Yeah, well, let's. I know. We had a long conversation about that game after it finished, but let's go back quickly. Get your thoughts on that second game in Miami before we recap the Wizards game tonight.
At a certain point, and I've been saying this a long time, y'all. At a certain point, we're going to have to start punching back. And when I say punching back, I mean not just with the players, with our front office personnel. We got like 7 or 8 people in that front office. At a certain point, somebody going to have to be willing to take that $25,000 to $50,000 fine and call out the refs. That was ridiculous. That was beyond ridiculous. And I try not to get into blaming them. Go a little too far with that. Sometimes folks go a little too far with that, but listen, Stevie Wonder could have seen that game was officiated completely one-sided.
Yeah.
When we had a chance to tie, Trae coming down the left side, the Martin kid literally hooked him, and no call. Trae turns the ball over. Now, everybody know I give Trae absolutely HE double hockey sticks, but one thing about me, I'm gonna stand up for him when he need to be stood up for. Okay? That's
facts.
Look, now I'm gonna reference this because I know I came in late. I'm sorry, y'all.
Yeah, you good.
Y'all remember them 89? Well, Mikey, I'm sure you're not old enough. Who is on here with us?
And
are you old enough to remember them 89, 90 Pistons?
Yeah.
It's the reason why they became the bad boys.
They were
going through the same shit our Hawks go through. They was going through the same. They wasn't getting no calls. They felt like they was getting the short end of the stick. They felt like the refs was catering to them Boston Celtics and the Knicks. So guess what they started doing? They started giving the refs something to call. Next thing you know, you're seeing fights. You're seeing pushing and shoving matches. Now you're seeing 2/3 of the league playing like that. I'm not saying we need to try to go out there and intentionally hurt folks, but if we're not going to get calls, give them something to call. If you see a game going where you're not going to get a call, hey, let a guy go to the hole, put him on his ass, point at the ref and say, now that's a foul. Now you're going to get teed up for it, but at a certain point, you got to send a message to these refs. Adam Silver and the prior commissioner of the league, they so overprotective of these refs, but these refs need to do their job. They get paid to do a job as well.
But David Stern was not protective of these refs. He suspended a lot of players a long time and refs. He did it with Joey Crawford, and I know what you're talking about. Like you had Rick Mahorn, you had Bill Laimbeer, you had Joe Dumars, you had Vinnie Thompson.
Yeah, Mahorn, Laimbeer, Sally, Rodman, Buddha Edwards.
You had every one of these guys putting people on their butts, like you were saying.
Yeah. Now, what did they go a little overboard with it?
Yes,
absolutely. Yeah,
absolutely. But they got their point across.
They did. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be willing to step on the wild side to get your point across. All right, that was ridiculous. That was ridiculous. I hate the Miami Heat. See them. My Miami Heat hatred goes all the way back to the days of Ronnie Cycling in the crew. You know, that's our real rival. A lot of people think and Mikey that Knicks are our rival. Knicks are not our rival.
Man, they're still babies.
They're not our rivals. They don't listen. The only thing the Knicks don't hate the Hawks. They hate Trae Young. That's it, because he shined on them. just like Reggie Miller did. They hated Reggie Miller, and of course, you know they hated Michael Jordan. They hate players. They don't hate teams. You know, but I was heated, man. I don't blame you. Livid.
And I know you were gonna say something. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Ed.
Damn. I just I don't think we had. I don't think we had a type of personnel on this team to do that.
Yeah, we do. It ain't nothing but a talk. It ain't nothing but a talk from the coach. Listen, check this out, Ed. Sometimes you got to challenge their manhood. What the hell wrong with y'all? Y'all scared? Oh, y'all gonna let them punk y'all like that? Hey,
That's
same
true.
minute you got to argue with folks on social media. How about go out there and put somebody on their ass?
Yep. Hey, sometimes you gotta grow some nuts. I'm just saying.
Trust me, Ed. I'm not disregarding what you're saying. I know exactly what you mean.
I get it.
You got some folks that just might not be built like that, but sometimes you got to put it in them.
I see what y'all saying.
Yeah.
Well,
some players.
Go ahead.
My bad, Mike. I was just gonna say some players, they are built. They have that inbuilt, and then some other players you got to put that. You got to will that into.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And as we go into tonight, let's hope the officiating is not as bad as it was in the second game on Miami. That first game in the Wizards, even though we won, you might be saying, okay, yeah, you won. The officiating was good. I did not have any problem with officiating in that game.
Yeah,
I mean, Onyeka had a couple questionable fouls there, and same with Porzingis. Porzingis should not have had 5 fouls. I think he's probably been at 3 or 4. He had some rough calls called on him as well. But I thought the officiating was definitely much better than that Miami game.
We went 20 or 26 from the free throw line. They went 14 to 17.
As Porzingis, that's the 2 or 3 fouls on Porzingis that he should not have gotten. As I'm gonna say that right now.
Damn him. Hey, makes up in my eyes. They making up for everything that I missed for 60 years with us. I don't care. Off with his head. He still went for 45.
That's nice though. That's true. But what do you guys want to see? So what we did well in the first game, what do you want to see carry over into tonight's game?
4 quarters. Sam, OG Sam talk about this a lot. Play 4 quarters, man.
Yep.
We can't have too many of those lows. Listen, hey, basketball gods counts on our side a little bit. That was a losable game. We went on a 14. We went on a 14-0 run and then gave up an 11-0 run.
And then went on a 7-0 run after that. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah, and the 5 on the floor.
Yeah.
For the 14-0 run, Bogey, Onyeka, Sadiq Bey,
Jalen Johnson,
Jalen Johnson, and
Trae DeShante. I don't remember.
And Murray was running the point.
Okay.
That was the 5 we had on the floor for the 14-0 run. Hey, good job by the coach of recognizing he let them guys go a little bit longer too.
Oh, he did, yeah.
He did. Yep.
And one thing, and I said this a little bit before you got on, OG, Jalen Johnson really turned that game in favor for us. His energy coming off the bench, his defense, his point of attack defense, especially on Beal, was really nice. I really want to see that fourth quarter performance on Beal. Obviously, you're not going to be able to contain Beal like we did in that fourth quarter.
Absolutely not. He's too good of a basketball player.
Beal had
a baller.
Yeah, Beal had 4 points. Beal had 4 points and only made a couple free throws with 2 minutes left in the game. That was his fourth quarter, which credit to Jalen Johnson, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, everybody was guarding him in that fourth quarter. I want to see us compete like that against Beal today. I know you're probably not going to hold Beal to that low across the entire game because Beal's a certified bucket. He's a scorer. That's what he does. But just the effort defensively from those guys and Trae too tonight, I want to see that again tonight. What about you, Ant?
Yeah, I agree. We have to. I want us to, just like Chauncey says, we have to play for $1. Play for that $1. 4 quarters on defense, and then even when we have lapses on offense or where we go through those droughts, I want us to keep that same energy on defense. And then it's just like that first game. If those if they top three go for 60 plus, okay. So what? Keep them others
Yep.
under 20 points.
Yep, that's huge because Beal, their big three, Beal, Kuz, and Porzingis. They're all great scorers. Porzingis is such a tough cover for us because when he plays the 4 and Daniel Gafford's at center, I mean John Collins is 6'9", maybe 6'10". Porzingis is 7'3". Like that's such a tough matchup for JC. He's just going to shoot over him like he did last game. So we allowed Porzingis, Kuz, but I want to see DeAndre Hunter play a little bit better defense lately, and I know that's his specialty. But lately, to me, it looks like he hasn't had his best defensive games in Miami as well when Jimmy Butler played well against him. So I want to see DeAndre Hunter make Kuz's scoring night tonight really difficult.
He's gonna probably be on Beal.
I don't think so. I think Beal is a bit too quick for DeAndre Hunter. I think we'll still see Murray. That's my guess, but we'll see.
No. Dre gonna guard Kuzma. I'm sorry, he gonna guard Kuzma.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Dre's gonna guard Kuzma, DeJounte's gonna guard Beal, and then you have JC guarding Porzingis, which I don't. We'll see how it goes. But if Porzingis goes off, just
keep him in front of you.
The other guys.
Just keep him in front of you. If they make circus shots, it just ain't meant for us to win.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing about Kuzma Southside, he's gotten a much better handle lately. His drives are much more controlled than when he was in LA, and that's really what I think has taken his game to the next level. He's always had that 3-point shot, so that doesn't surprise me. I was shooting well from three, but he's upped his defensive rebounding too, which was the issue in his career in LA. So that's helped him take his career to the next level. But we have the game's going to start in about 10 minutes. So unfortunately, we're going to have to skip the Braves talk tonight. But we will preview the Celtics-Hawks tomorrow. The Hawks will be at home. It'll be a back-to-back, though, travel day. So it'll be a tough game. But what do you want to see us do against the Celtics? Because we know how they like to play on offense. They like to shoot a ton of threes.
Stay. Listen, I got to use, if y'all don't mind me borrowing a phrase from our prior coach. Stay connected.
There it is.
Stay calm, clear, and connected.
Yep.
Hey man, look, it's time for us to start swinging back. We done got everything together. Okay, listen, we done kissed and made up. The front office seems to be intact. Trae's happy. I mean, I gotta say that. If Trae's unhappy, the team ain't good. So listen, we got your guy. We got Quinn Snyder.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, now it's time to start swinging. We literally got what? Hold on, 33. Oh, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wait, 6. We got 16 games left, right?
Mm-hmm. I think so.
Yeah.
Bro, I need at the worst 10 and 6 out of these 16 games. At the worst, won't let them in 5. Is that too much to ask for?
No, that's not too much to ask for.
Well, hell, 12 and 4. Shit.
The Celtics for us have always been a bad matchup because we haven't had the best perimeter defenders. Now we have DeJounte Murray, we have DeAndre Hunter, we have Trae playing defense like he has been the last 2 games. They've hurt us at 3-point shooting every time. They hit 21 threes against us earlier this year. Sam Hauser really destroyed us. And when you got 3-point specialists like that, Duncan Robinson hurt us in Miami. Sam Hauser. When you've got guys like that who hurt you off the bench, it really lowers your morale because you're like, oh, this player should not be hurting us like they are. Though that's the key for me. Chase these guys around screens and really, really have to be able to get out to these shooters. And if they make a contested shot, so be it. But you want to win the 3-point shot battle against the Celtics. I don't think they're going to score. They're going to score. They're going to live, and they're going to die by the 3. you want them to die by it.
Yes, take as many threes as you want. Shoot your heart out. Please do. Because we all know that in that second half, they're not gonna be falling like that no more. We just had a game like that. So hey. And then just like Southside said, the Celtics they've been having trouble holding leads lately.
Yeah, they've lost 3 of their last 4. They had a 15-point lead.
Us too. Shit. How we gonna talk about them? Like we ain't tricked off our share game.
You know I had to do it.
Southside, now come on now, Southside. You know I mess with you, Southside, but we can trick them out too now. Shoot. But let's see, man.
This game honestly is gonna be a huge test for us tomorrow night, because if we get this win in Washington, it'll be huge. It sets us up to win the season series in the Washington game in a few weeks, and it puts Washington back a decent amount of chunk where we can breathe a bit easier from the guys behind us. If Miami can lose, that's a bonus, but you got to take care of your business first, because this is going to be a tough game against the Celtics, number 2 seed in the East. So take care of business tonight. Use that momentum to carry in tomorrow. If you got tired legs, it's understandable, but we got to do our best to try and win this game, because, like you said, OG, now is not the time to say, okay, we have a new coach. We have 16 games left. While Quinn may not be able to run all of his sets until next year, the effort can sure be there, and that's what we need to see.
Yes.
But without further ado, we're gonna end it right there. Any last thoughts on tonight's game before that goes on in about 6 minutes here?
Go ahead,
I mean, just stay connected, man. Like,
don't be using Nate word. Don't be using Nate. Don't be using Nate word. I agree though. I'm gonna agree with that. Stay connected, man. Hey, let's give 4 quarters, man. That's it. Let's give 4 quarters. Yep. And that's all I got. Hey, y'all already know how we ended. That's my man up there in the corner. I'm OG Truth with the 2 Hertz, man. And here at Georgia Sports Nation, we always seek and speak the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Mikey, take us home.
All right, and if you want to talk sports, Hawks, Braves, Atlanta United, anything Atlanta sports, you can message me on Twitter, Pinwist300, and streaming Georgia Sports Nation on recapping Hawks hoops on YouTube. With that, don't forget to tune in next week at 6:00 p.m. Eastern. We're gonna have more Hawks and Braves content coming to you guys. Hopefully, we'll know more about the spring training news for the Braves, as we got the regular season approaching in just a few weeks here. So get ready for Braves baseball soon here. Excited. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.